Hi, I'm Dr. John Galaska. Thanks for taking the time to watch this little video. I have a little presentation here that talks about equanimity. Equanimity is a really neat quality to have, and it's basically the ability to stay composed when you're under pressure, no matter what's going on. A lot of us lack what I would call equanimity. I certainly was one of those people. However, I grew into what I call being fully cooked. It it gave me a whole new way of looking at things that I call being fully cooked and having equanimity. I used to find myself very upset, very anxious around other people. And I was always reviewing my conversations with other people, sort of going back over them to kind of judge whether I did okay or not. It's not really a good thing to be all that concerned about what other people think of you. This kind of distress of having anxiety and being overly concerned with what other people think could be the result of what is called insecure attachment that does make us more prone to being anxious. Sometimes anxiety can be debilitating. I've got a way that I think can help you get out of this debilitating anxiety, get you into a state of mind wherein you're able to deal with what's going on all around you. About half of us emerge from childhood with insecure attachment. Basically, an attachment style is a set of expectations that we learn from our caregiver, usually our mother, in the first couple of years of life. It actually goes on being formed until we're about 4.5 or 5, when a part of our brain that's called the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex comes online. That allows narrative memory. But going back to the first couple of years of life, we do not have speech. And so we learn these things through a process that's called implicit learning. Okay, now, because there's no narrative memory of how we got this set of expectations, mostly for how social relationships will unfold, we tend to think this is our natural self, but it's actually not. We have no choice but to attach to our caregiver. It's a biological imperative that we do so. And it's a natural process that we attach. Now, some of us will emerge from childhood with insecure attachment, but just as this set of expectations that were inculcated through implicit learning when we were very young, occurred through natural processes can take it away. Now, concerning anxiety, and this is a combination of anxiety with insecure attachment that this little video is trying to address. It is not your fault. It's not a matter of a failure of willpower. You had no choice but to relate to your caregiver pretty much in the way that they present themselves to you. Now, just as that's true, you also have no choice about what your brain does when it's faced with traumatic or difficult experiences. And this little diagram there, that thing down the bottom is the reptilian part of our brain. It's the most primitive part of our brain. And it tries to protect us from things that may potentially cause us harm. Sometimes it gets overzealous and it is like a hyperactive smoke detector. But if you combine this overzealousness of the reptile brain in trying to protect us, it tends to generalize cues. Where it becomes really sticky is when a caregiver has been perhaps abusive or neglectful, then as we learn how to expect what social relationships, how they will work out, we tend to associate, and our reptile brain does a great job of doing this, associate all people who are in a position of nurture with what happened and during that crucial phase in our development. That's an overgeneralization. And that could result in what's called an ambivalent attachment. Now, what I'm suggesting here in this program that I'm offering to you is something that brings results to overcome anxiety right in the moments. Really very simple process. It has to do with breathing and some aspects of our physiology that are simply physiological facts. It doesn't require any faith to get the results. And what I'm offering also can give you a set of signposts to find the path toward becoming fully cooked, towards becoming autonomous in your own self. Now, this latter part of what I'm going to be suggesting in this program that I offer probably fits in very well with your expectations about what's good for you. And one of the things that is so important are those trusted moments of intimate relationship with other people, wherein you can allow yourself to be vulnerable to someone and they don't shred you, they validate you, they don't give you advice. Those moments are very precious, and those are what are involved in replacing that set of expectations that are involved with insecure attachment with a new set of expectations that will serve you well. This thing that I'm doing does not involve any talk therapy, although there is some talk in it. Now, I come from experience with insecurity and anxiety. A while back ago, I had some chest pain. I went to the ER. They misdiagnosed me. They said I was having a heart attack. I wasn't. I didn't find out until that evening that they had made a mistake, but it scared the bejeebers out of me, and I started having panic attacks. I know what these are like, and they're very, very scary. I actually checked myself into 3 different ERs, which is kind of freaky when I look back on it. And it was no fun. And I know any of you who experience panic attacks can empathize with that. My general practitioner gave me a prescription for 2 SSRIs. And although they did help, I did not like the feeling that they gave me overall. Now, an important thing for you to realize is I am not the kind of doctor who can give you advice on prescriptions. Always check with your general practitioner regarding any medication that you're taking. Now, take these panic attacks that I'm now having and put it on top of the fact that my mother never picked me up out of the crib when I was a baby. She thought it would be encouraging me to cry. We do know now that that's not the case, that babies who are comforted when they're crying grow up more secure and actually less needy than those children who are not comforted when they're crying. This resulted in an attachment style for myself that was very insecure. I was one needy teenager for sure. I would court a young lady, asking her to go out with me. And then when she said she would, I told her, oh, I don't want to go out with you. I had this approach avoidance thing. I needed attention desperately. And yet I did not feel that I was worthy of it. Classic approach avoidance thing. Fire and ice is what I call it. Not a nice way to be. All right. So what I'm saying is I've been there. I've overcome insecure attachment. I know the path from the inside out. And I've overcome the panic attacks that I've had and anxiety. And so I can help you along the path. I have two. You could say this indicates that I am a glutton for punishment. I have 2 doctorates in clinical psychology. My specialty is attachment and anxiety. Now, first of all, I have to tell you that this program that I'm going to offer you, it has no guarantees. I do not believe it's legitimate to guarantee anything that goes along with modifying, facilitating change in human behavior. However, if you have confidence in the scientific method, I can offer you lots of references for everything that I do. Now, allaying anxiety in the moment with some of the techniques that I can teach you, that's relatively simple and straightforward to do. I have some clients who have told me that it has really changed their life. And when you're able to do that, you can see things clearly without being primed for fight or flight. In addition to being able to calm anxiety in the moment, I can set you on a path. I can give you the outline for what it takes to develop a new set of what I call implicit social templates, a new set of social expectations to replace that set of expectations that may have resulted in insecure attachment. I call that equanimity or being fully cooked. Equanimity suits us like a warm glove on a cold day. Okay. Everything that I do is evidence-based. The techniques for allaying anxiety improve vagal tone and the ability to control affect. It's not a real easy thing to do, all of this, but it can be done. And I know that it will help those of you who have insecure attachment and suffer from anxiety. Now, this little video isn't going to tell you what those techniques are. This is an introduction to the ideas that are core to the program that I'm offering. All right. And one of the core ideas is that your nervous system isn't broken. Sometimes it gets overzealous in trying to protect us from things that it thinks may be about to happen. This is a result of overgeneralization of cues. Now, the thing that we are most frightened of, and especially as children, is loss of nurture. And this is our nervous system tries to protect us from situations wherein nurture may be removed. So if one is unlucky enough to have had a caregiver who wasn't quite good enough, in our intimate relationships, we may, our amygdala and hippocampus, parts of our reptile brain, may then tend to generalize anyone who becomes a possible nurturer with that original caregiver. That causes a lot of difficulty. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can see people hugging and smiling right here. This is really important stuff, but you have to filter who you let in to the position of giving you advice. You may know people who will tell you their whole life story after 5 minutes at a bar over a beer. That's not a good filter. One needs to be able to have people in their lives, trusted counsel, who will allow you to be vulnerable in their presence and then not give you advice, to validate your feelings, to let you know that you are worth listening to, that you are worthwhile, that your ideas are good ones. Okay, so you have to filter who you let in. When one becomes fully cooked, one has a good filter for those trusted counselors. So give me a shout if you want to trade tension and anxiety for a state of calm that can give you immediate relief. Get some understanding about how your nervous system works. I fully trust that having some knowledge about how our brain interacts with our nervous system and how this forms our subjective life experience, I trust that this information alone can be very beneficial in helping you to become fully cooked. I will give you that trusted counsel if you will honor me with allowing me to be in that position of being your trusted counselor. I will do my best to set you on the path towards what it takes to become fully cooked. So give me a call. If I don't pick up, leave me a message, and I can guarantee you there will be no fancy sales talk when you call. I'll just simply try to answer your questions. If I don't pick up, leave me a message. I'll get back to you. Okay. This stuff can be transformational. It was for me. And now I have a really good knowledge of the theory, psychological theory, that I've garnered in my 2 doctoral degrees and in my practice and in teaching over the years. And I'm really tickled to be able to share these ideas with you and explain them further to you. So I try to walk the talk, and there I am. You might say this first picture could be representative of taming your reptile brain. I am 75, but I am alive. I didn't grow up until I was about 45 or 50. That is when I achieved what I call being fully cooked, when I got some equanimity in my life. I would be honored if you will allow me to help you to get some equanimity in your life. Okay, thanks. You guys take care.